But yeah, so what I'll do is, I do this normal introduction and whatnot. But when I give Travis the audio, he can cut that out, or I'll cut that out, or I'll make sure that there's enough of a pause where he can cut that out, because you don't need my introduction on your show.
Welcome back to the Travel People Podcast. I'm your host, Juan Velazquez, and we are going to be taking you on an exploration journey and collaborative podcast with our good friend Barrett Gruber at All About Nothing Podcast US. Barrett and I will be sitting down talking the politics of travel and everything that's affecting us today in our modern world. Check it out. This is a great collaborative podcast. We look forward to hearing back from you. Hey, remember to hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe on Spotify. And if you're looking for travel deals, Cruise Planners is the travel company that you want to call at 803-280-4727.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And if I, I got to start off with this, that voice, brother, you absolutely nail it. It's just, can we get the folks in LinkedIn and, chime in here? I'm sure there's a couple of jobs available here around Charlotte lately. These guys getting fired left and right. So
dude,
let's go.
They just got rid of Bubba and, no, not Bubba. Who are the two radio hosts that have been on the air for like 40 years? It was a duo or whatever, but they were syndicated all over the country, and they were being played here. And I recently saw an article that said that their show, and it wasn't important to me, but I can't remember the name of it now. But they just recently said that they were retiring, or they have retired. And I was like, they phoned that show in like at least since COVID. Like,
right.
Everything I ever heard on that show was either a repeat of something, or it was a joke they've been doing for 25 years or whatever. So I, kudos to their retirement. And again, I can't remember their name.
Kudos to them, and maybe we have an opening now.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? I have friends in it that work in radio in Atlanta that live in Nashville and travel. He's Steve Barnes is a guy. He's on 99X with Leslie Fram. They do their show every day, but they record it out. Like, they record their shows pretty well in advance. I guess they record their segments pretty well in advance. Secret, spoiler alert. But like, he does a lot of stuff with travel as well, but he is a drone photographer for resorts. And so he does all that sort of stuff. So he gets to go to these resorts for like a week and just fly his drone taking and I make it sound simple. It isn't.
It is not simple. I've crashed plenty of drones. Hence why I don't own one now. So if you're planning a good Christmas gift for me, anybody, not a drone, maybe one of those plastic drones that, nobody cares about, goes in the lake. Oops.
Yeah.
There goes $10.
Yeah. We're going to set up a GoFundMe. Let's drone Juan.
Let's drone me. It's interesting because I always, I have this opportunity to do what we call familiarizations in the industry. And we'll travel to resorts or on cruises, or to theme parks and explore. And you'll see these drone operators and their travel advisors too. They have most elaborate setups. And I'll go up to them, I'll find out, do some networking, be friendly, and then come to find out that most of their business comes from exactly that, working as a marketing agent for those particular products versus selling travel. And, lately I've found myself doing the same, coming to terms that, AI is a reality. People can just chat anything and, put it in there and the algorithm will spit out some itinerary. But I remind people that, who you're going to call when, your hotel doesn't exist because you found it on some platform that Google spit out that says, hey, AI says and recommends, and then you don't have anything to go to. Or, they canceled your booking and you don't have someone to argue with and talk with, advocate for you. But I would tell people, use those platforms for daily itineraries. Maybe you get up in the middle of Hawaii, Waikiki, and you have nothing to do because you did it all. And you have 2 days to spend. There you go. It'll tell you the local shops. It'll tell you what to do, the local customs, what's going on, festivals, etc. You know, but to use it to blatantly put together an itinerary, when I get those clients, brother, so well, let's see what we have here. And when I pick it apart, they hate it. They hate it until I come back to them and show them, hey, this is what an itinerary should really look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Can I just tell you, for those that aren't watching on YouTube, you need to at least go over and see Juan. If you haven't seen him on his podcast, the Travel People's Podcast, you have some of the deepest dimples I've ever seen. Like, you and my brother would rival each other as far as like the depth of those dimples. That's do people comment on that?
yeah. So do you know the story behind dimples? At least for Latinos and Hispanics, we have this not so kosher. It's a little bit of a naughty. Uh, it's a reason that most people should know.
Oh,
And
I'm all
that
ears.
we would say, it was when mom and dad were excited and you were still in the oven. Yeah. So, so there you go.
Dirty.
Yeah. That's one of those that, I will only say in a podcast. But I appreciate the shout out because, we just started doing this. We don't know what the heck we're doing. But to be honest, I piggyback from Travis Bizzell and aka Famous.
Yeah.
And Jerry Hardison, aka Midas, with No Shortcuts.
Love those guys.
Fantastic, man. I've been on their show about 4 times now, I think.
I think they've given me 2 spots, and
yeah.
I know what's going to happen is they're going to hear me that, and they're going to be like, "Oh, Barrett wants to come on again." I do. I love coming on their show. I think having conversations with the two of them is great, but I always feel bad. I feel like I completely overpower their show.
No, I think they enjoy that because sometimes you'll have a guest that'll just sit there and is waiting for cue. Where you and I share that. Where I actually told my wife this. I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this because we're both kind of going to be interviewing each other.
Yeah.
Because we're going to take over the microphone. But I really appreciate that because, again, to digress, we started with 0 expectations. We were like, oh, we'll film once a month, maybe twice. If we get lucky. What's our budget? What are we doing? Are we going on location? The first couple episodes are production-wise, they're okay. Sorry, Travis. But then we learned every episode got better and increased in traction. But I didn't know how to advertise this thing. I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
So I switched over.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can tell you from my experience, the first episodes that I did in 2017 were basically I would literally write out my entire script, and I would just sit there and basically read my script, but I would do it in the same way that I would do when I was on the radio, because like we always had copy that we had to read, and before commercials, after songs would post, whatever, and so I was able to at least parse out how I wrote my script so that I could make it sound like it was natural and I wasn't reading. But those episodes were like 25 minutes long, 30 minutes long. I would do it on a Wednesday with babies screaming in the background sometimes. It was, and then in COVID, or right before COVID, Zach came on and it became just a conversation of us complaining about politics. And it was, but that's how it got started. And so for you all, this is so with the Travel People's Podcast, is it designed to be a part or a function of the cruise planners, or is this mostly like a project of passion? Like, is it a side hustle to it to encourage business, but also just because you love doing it?
I think I think you probably answered it, because it's definitely a side hustle that's become now um, a component of the business. It is a necessity of the business, especially to keep people aware that we're still here, and it avoids us from doing commercials or any print media, which is dead. Um, so it allows us to be relevant, and people can come back and say, "Oh, yeah, that's right. He still does travel. I need to book whatever it is, go to Europe." Um, so it's allowed me to have that voice. But we did this season. We changed gears and we decided, let's go into the community, because I was politically motivated, and we have friends in common that we have supported, you especially. So it drove me to think, well, I'm already involved in the nonprofit sector. I do a great deal with them, but how can I get involved with local businesses and create a co-op? What is it that I love? I love beer. I love wine. I'm a connoisseur of both of those, or maybe sideways from time to time, or all the time. But the idea was, let's go to all the breweries in York County and all the small businesses that sell spirits and have interviews with them. So we're in the process of doing that, and we've had a lot of fun talking with local owners about um, their own embarkation, right? To use travel words here, and their journey as they became who they are, branded, whether it be Moore or Replay. And these are all breweries here in York County in Fort Mill, South Carolina. So um, hearing those stories allows us to also jump into stories of their lives, trips, weddings, destinations, and it brings an impactful journey that people can um, kind of say, well, yeah, I kind of, I emulate that in a way, or, oh, I never thought about doing something so creative with a wedding package, going out to, I don't know, the rainforest and doing something exotic, right?
Yeah.
Or um, coming into the Sahara and doing something extreme, like, you know, um, doing marriage proposals on these uh, SUVs, or these, what are the vehicles? The buggies
Yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Where the
The,
lion's about to jump
I
on
mean,
somebody.
I've heard the stories, and then I get customers saying, "Hey, I heard your podcast, or I heard this. Can I do that too?" And it's great, because then you have something that people can actually think that is realistic, and not just something on some Tom Cruise movie, where he's hanging off the side of the plane. Will you marry me? No.
Lest anyone think, though, Tom Cruise has just victimized his body. Like, I have seen reels now that talk about just like bones that have fused back together in the wrong direction, because in Mission Impossible he broke his ribs, and because so he's so, I guess, motivated to get these movies done, he'll work through a broken ribs and get the movie filmed, because the Scientology part is weird for me, but Cruise seems like, he seems nuts, but he seems genuinely like such a good guy, because he knows that the back end of the movie is where most of the production and everything gets paid. So the people that are working for this movie, like, they really benefit from having it finished. And but yeah, no, Tom, he will forever be Peter Pan, but like, man, I mean, I don't think he's ever played Peter Pan. I just think he just
Yeah.
stays young. But yeah, he has beat himself to death. Like, just
It's
incredible.
funny, because I haven't had a conversation about travel or cruising without mentioning Tom Cruise, and it's on purpose. Because I thought of, at one point, naming my business Tom Cruise Planners,
Okay.
right? So Tom LLC, Tom Cruise Planners. But we went back and forth. The travel people just popped into my head, and I was like, that's what we do. We're the travel people. We travel all the time.
Yeah.
So there you go.
How much
Until,
of your year do you think that you all travel? Like, you all are
ooh,
actually away from home?
Well, um, this year we had at least, we were away from home at least 35% of the time. What I mean, and I'm trying to think of the months here and how much we traveled all of July, all of June. I was away all of September, all of October. So maybe a little bit more than 35% this year for sure.
That's incredible.
But on the median, it's about 35%. More on my side because I'll do those familiarizations and a lot of it is boring. Just me getting to know the product. Unless it's a fun product. We do great collaborations with Virgin Voyages, for instance, right now. They're a top tier product that we sell. And we really have a bias for them. So it speaks to who we are in life and the energy they give out to their clients and to the advisors that sell their product is world renowned.
Yeah.
And it shows because they've been number one now 4 years in a row, 4 years in water. And that's a great example of never giving up. We were talking about this before we started. We were talking about failure. And Richard Branson, here's an individual who battled not just the economics of putting together over, I think it's over 500, maybe you can Google it, businesses,
Yeah.
or maybe 700 and 500 failed or something like that. But could you imagine? Oh, I started a business and it failed and I go crawl under a rock. But this man started almost 700 businesses,
Yeah.
and each one of them had its own, you know, drawbacks and failures. But he said no. At 80 something years old, he said he never stopped being motivated to succeed. And
Yeah.
here we are with Virgin. It's amazing, amazing story.
Sir Richard Branson. Yeah. And he gets to invite the healthy presidents to come down and
Yeah,
wind sailing off his private island.
right. These I call them catamarans, but I might be wrong. But they look like it.
I will just say this. I have it scheduled to send an email every single month asking for Sir Richard Branson to adopt me. So
Both of us, please. It's a 2-for-1.
So what is your daily hustle look like? What does your day look like as far as being a travel agent? Because
So boring.
I'm
It's so boring.
well, I mentioned to you that we have used travel agents over the course of since we've had children. Because before children, it was easy just to go someplace and do whatever you wanted.
Right.
With kids, it's far easier on us to have a schedule because then we can say things like, no, if we don't get out the door in the next 5 minutes, we're going to miss the tram, which means we're going to miss the bus, which means we're going to miss our time in line, which means you're not going to get to ride Small World.
Everybody needs to ride. It's a small world, man.
Yeah.
It's the one ride that you must do. I don't care how old you are. And you've never been to Disney. That is the ride that you purposely go. And then the Dumbo ride.
Well, yeah, the seven dwarf mine train, I think for me is easily one of the it's one of the most fun roller coasters, and I don't do a whole lot of like the extreme rides. I think
Okay.
I have one video on my YouTube of me doing the slingshot. But I was 300 pounds when I did the slingshot, and they had to put somebody else in the seat next to me to level out the weight, but they put the smallest dude. I'll send you a text with the link to it because it's pretty funny to watch. But they told me they were going to have to sit somebody next to me just to make sure that it evened out all the weight and everything. And when they put him in the seat, and I was like, I could eat him for lunch and potentially still be hungry. But he told me, he said, all right, when it slingshots up, you kick your feet out so that, you do these rolls and whatever. And it was a trip and it was a great time. But
That's funny.
I don't do a whole lot of the extreme rides, but I do enjoy roller coasters, and I think Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is probably one of the Aerosmith rock and roll roller coaster. I think is a really good one. So, but anyway, sorry, we
But
digress.
my day to day, you can actually describe it as a roller coaster ride, right? You're going up that chain is popping, and you're just kind of clanking along. And that's really how it starts. I'm looking at who's on my docket, prioritizing from either budget or length or timing, and they might need it right away. Um, and then I'll start my research before I do any calls or emails. I'm going to research the client, not the product that they're asking for, because I want to know this is a legitimate person. Have they traveled before?
Oh, yeah.
I want to do my deep state research. Thank you, Facebook.
Professional stalker in the house. Can I give you some names? Just pass those along to you.
Yeah. Let's go.
I can't see them, so maybe you can.
It's so funny, but and then it helps when we get together on a call, and they'll say, "Oh, wow!" So he really does get me, or "Oh, wow, he understands exactly what I'm looking for," because I want to know the individual.
Yeah,
I really don't care whether you're spending $1,000 or $100,000. If you spend $100,000, well, maybe I do care. But what it is, it's a relationship. Most of my best clients understand that they're going to stay with me, and whether it's a hotel stay at Myrtle Beach or a wholesale stay in Tokyo, that's going to be a week. I know that I'm going to treat them the same trip, different trip, same treatment, same class of service, very centric, very customer forward, friendly, and it allows them to keep coming back and bringing me business and referrals. So that's really the long game here. So every day I try to play the long game. I prepare for that long game. The research part of it, that's where the roller coaster part of it, that's where the roller coaster ride comes in. You go down the rabbit hole and you find out that the supplier doesn't have what you're looking for. So then you go uphill again, searching for a new provider, and then you come back down and you're hoping you're going to hit that loop, that fantastic loop that everybody likes.
Yeah.
And that's really what happens. Some research could take me days, just to find the right opportunity to meet the budget, to meet the excitement level, to curate an itinerary that makes sense, and keep it budget friendly. I'm going to mention that word again and again and again. Budget. I get clients that'll call me and say, "Hey, Juan, can you find me 5 days on a cruise? It could go anywhere, any ship, any cabin, but I don't want to spend more than $300."
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Are there any cruises that exist besides like a fishing boat? Like $300 for 5. That's like owning your own house and not having a mortgage on it. I think I still spend more than $300 every 5 days. Like,
are you
I can stay home and spend more than $300 in 5 days.
I spend more paying my Amex payment. Are you kidding me?
I bet.
They're like, "Yeah. Can you do?" I'm like, "Do you realize what you're asking?" Sometimes it's just unrealistic, and I bring them back to earth. And I'm like, "All right, let's come back down from that rocket. Elon sent you too fast. You're out of brain cells. You're all wrecked up there, and let's get you back to Earth. This is what's going to happen. This is what you're paying for."
Yeah. No, but I was going to say, I do have a cocaine shack in Venezuela that is looking for trade out. You pound coca plants for a week. They will feed you. It's rice and
that's it.
Lettuce, but
I mean, it'd be fantastic. The ultimate all inclusive.
Yeah. You know what? I've never done cocaine before. I maybe I'd consider that one.
I,
Maybe.
I'll say this. I read this somewhere, and I don't know whether or not it's true or not, but it was the New York Post, so it probably isn't true.
But shout out to the New York Post, one of the longest running
It's a,
newspaper whatevers.
shout out to the New York Post, right, by the way. They've invaded my Instagram and Facebook algorithm feed, so I don't know how to get rid of them now.
Yeah.
I liked one post, and that's it. That's all
Yeah.
you need to
That's all
do.
it took. That's all it takes.
That's it.
Yeah. I just followed Lin-Manuel, and Alexander Hamilton came up all the time, and now it's the New
God,
York Post.
it's crazy.
I do
It's
love
crazy.
Lin-Manuel though.
But you know, one of the things that I really wanted to get into on this episode is people need to understand the politics of what's going on in travel.
Absolutely.
And picking on the New York Post, they've actually done a good job about highlighting what you should be avoiding. There are obvious countries like you're not going to go to Afghanistan, right?
I
Unless
know
you have family or you need to, fight in combat.
I know a kid that's going to Afghanistan this month.
Oh God.
But he's
Well,
going there as a reporter.
okay.
So
See, there are purposes, right? You have um your careers,
yeah.
like this gentleman, or maybe you have family, just all kidding aside, right?
Yeah.
You may have family, but you're not going to find a direct airline that's going to just take you to Afghanistan. It's going
Yeah.
to be a journey. It's going to be dangerous. And that's the extreme, right? The lesser of extreme is Cuba, right? We have restrictions and so forth, but we still are available to travel there for religious purposes. And,
Oh.
we'll have clients that say, well, we're going on a mission trip, but after that, we're going to do dot, dot, dot. And I'll explain to them what the State Department requires and what hotels they can stay at and what the local government requires them to do and check in daily, whether it's providing information about the photographs that they took on their
Wow.
excursions or how much money they spent and to whom. So, it could mean being detained or being told you can go home. But, politics, and those are the extremes. But just going to Mexico right now, I have couples that'll call me now and say, hey, is it safe to go to Mexico? I'm personally not going to tell them yes, but I'm also not going to say no. I'm going to tell them, look, this is what's happening in the world right now. Are you aware of how easy a comment could become a misunderstanding or local? I think it was George Bush that said that we're the ambassadors of our countries when we travel, especially U.S. citizens.
Right.
I've traveled to far and wide places. And this summer, when my wife and I went to Lisboa in Portugal, the conversation was about, hey, you guys really elected a great guy over there. It's sarcastically, right?
Oh, okay. Whew.
And I'm like, not everyone feels that way. Well, that's not what we see in the media. So it's one of those things, you never talk about politics, never talk about money, you never talk about religion, but people are talking about it. When you're an American and you go to these countries, that's the first thing they're going to ask you. Hey, are you a Orange Man supporter or are you, BLM, right? They don't understand any of the concepts because they all think we're wacky and crazy right now.
Yeah.
They truly do.
I believe
They don't
it.
understand America right now.
Well,
So
we have skirted away from normal by such a dramatic, like, it's almost like we've been hit by a train and we have been pushed so far off the tracks, and it does. I can absolutely see where a lot of the world, places that we would potentially travel to, that the only information they're getting is what their news is reporting, but they're reporting on what our news is reporting. So it's not firsthand reporting that's being done. It is secondhand reporting. And it's almost like a game of telephone. I tell you one thing, you tell the next person one thing, but it's slightly degraded. And then the next person that person tells somebody else, and it's a little bit more degraded. And by the time you get to the end and you're trying to see what was matched up to the beginning and the end, it's usually, especially when it comes to news, even though this information is sourceable, you can cite what it is where you got it. There's always going to be an adjustment to it in order to make it. Usually it's simplifying it for the people that are going to be consuming that information. But yeah, I mean, to go to Lisbon, Portugal, Lisbon. Yeah, to go to Portugal and have someone comment on it, because when I was in Mexico I was in Cancun and the Yucatan back in like 2005. And so it was after 9/11. We were on a tour bus going to see Chichen Itza at a point, I don't know, it was like middle of the week or whatever, but we were on a bus with several people that were from Europe. I want to say France. And that was one of their questions was, you all have gotten us into this war that does not seem to have an end. And that was 5 years after it really started, because 2003 was when we invaded Iraq. And they're like, we just don't see the point in us being pulled into this war. And I'm like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. So being an ambassador for the country that you're from is difficult, because especially if you don't agree with some of the things that are going on.
Well, and then you'll have that one guy on the trip, the one guy with, the nice red hat and the big old American tattoo.
What is he doing outside of the country anyway?
Right. And, and look, I love everyone, but
sure.
Here's the thing. If you're flying 6 MAGA flags, 200 American flags on your lawn, and you're yelling Trump's name all day long, and you're yelling all his policies all day long, and you still want to go to Mexico.
It's contradiction.
You see this?
Yeah. I'm not going to say no, right?
I can't make this crap up. Are you kidding me? You want to go to Mexico, the same place you're saying, don't come in here, brother.
Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah. Is there a specific part of this may not be as funny as it's going to sound in my head, but is there a specific part of Mexico where MAGA is most welcome?
Yeah. Nowhere.
Nowhere Mexico. Got it.
Nowhere Mexico. Yeah, maybe in the makeshift cocaine fields. I laugh because I tell them, look, Mexico is a distribution hub for the world.
Sure. Yeah.
It whether it's illegal commerce or commerce in general, it is the number one. The Chinese use it. The Russians use it. Everybody uses it.
Yeah.
Venezuela uses it. They do oil. Everyone uses. Shoot, we send our garbage down to the UK.
Right.
That's, but the thought of having someone call me, and then I go through their Facebook reel, and I'm like, yeah, no, they're not going to be my client, first of all. And then, it just doesn't make sense. And a lot of it, I try to be open-minded and say, all right, well, look, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe there's an opportunity for me to just talk to this individual, get to know this individual. Maybe once upon a time, they were a Ronald Reagan fan.
Sure. Yeah.
And then,
you got to have hope. I mean,
right?
MAGA's new in the last, 10 years. In the last 30 years, it's only made up a third of our lives, which is very depressing.
I'm going to respectfully disagree that MAGA's new in the last 10 years. I'm going to say they started in the
the Tea Party. I think,
Yes.
yeah, the Tea Party. I think the Tea Party was what MAGA de-evolved into.
Yes.
Like the Tea
Yes.
Party was bad. Uh, the the IQ level, I'm assuming, of where the Tea Party was somewhere in the mid 80s. With
Right.
MAGA, and not to insult anybody, because 80 to 95 to 100 is normal intelligence.
Right.
It's a little below, but it's normal, you know. Uh, but MAGA sometimes, just in some of the arguments that I hear where they are trying to justify their opinion or justify their racism or their bigotry and their
Mm-hmm.
misogyny and everything else, to me, it just feels like, in my head, I picture the evolution from, I guess, ape to human beings. And then somewhere in there, you have to throw in a short guy with a red hat after
Yes.
the completely erect, human being. I don't know.
I want to preface something because I am short and I do wear a red hat, but not that same red hat. All right. So Virgin Voyages, his color is scarlet.
Uh,
So for all those people who do see me on my reels, yeah, that is a red hat. It says Virgin Voyages. Thank you very much. A proud virgin here. Let's go. But where do we go? Where rest in peace, Dick Cheney, right, former vice president,
oh yeah,
where he once upon a time was the conspiracist that we thought was the architect of 9/11.
sure.
Um, so you think about that we've gotten to the point where we've memorialized and created a hero out of him because A, his daughter is a badass, Liz Cheney, um, but B, because we have that bad of a precedent that this guy has become a hero now,
Yeah.
and we're able to watch this and it was so great watching. Well, it wasn't great watching funeral. It's never great watching the funeral, but it was great watching, the circumstance of all the presidents coming together, vice presidents, etc. Right? But just the idea that this is where we've gotten as a country, that our previous villains are now our heroes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for crying out loud, Bill Clinton, he was impeached. You know, I mean, I didn't know,
Yeah. But
but
not twice.
right.
like we have
But
to lower we have to keep lowering the bar. Like
hmm
I've seen people make um uh comparisons between Trump 1 and Trump 2, when, and I get there is a difference in the administrations. There's a lot more people that are less inclined to keep the guardrails up in the second administration versus the first administration. But like when I hear them talk about the poll numbers, the AP poll number right now,
right.
26% underwater. His approval rating right now is 24% with the AP, and that's as of this recording on Sunday, November 23rd. It is insane to me that some of the things about Donald Trump, and in comparison to Dick Cheney and the conspiracies and the facts and things like that, was he the CEO of a major corporation that
Mm,
benefited from the wars in the in Eastern or Western Asia and the Middle East? Yeah, 100%. He did
right.
benefit. He was on the board or the CEO of Blackwater, and
hmm
so there was definitely some benefit. Is that
Right.
conspiratorial? Maybe a little bit, but I believe that Dick Cheney did have an attachment to the Constitution, which means that he kept up with his oath.
Right.
Where now we have a president that has the the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, who ordered the death of a
Get the shit out.
journalist from the United States, and the president of the United States literally sitting next to him. I guarantee you this, that Mohammed bin Al Salman, or I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but when he walked into the Oval Office, I can promise you, he looked around and goes, not enough gold, not
Yeah.
enough. Like, he's the one person that can walk into the Oval Office and be like, there's not enough gold. But like any other president before Donald Trump, the things that he's being just accused of, the fact that we have evidence that he was close to somebody that he has lied about for the last 10 months as not being close to this person.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have evidence to show that he was. And it's not evidence that was collected from, they didn't just collect it. This was evidence that was released by the estate of
Right.
Jeffrey Epstein that has not been touched by anyone. I don't believe that it's been manipulated to make Trump look worse than he is. But any of this would have been enough to take anyone else down.
Oh
The
yeah.
CEO of a
Right.
company would be done for.
Right.
And Donald Trump just sort of skirts by. And it's probably because MAGA Mike Johnson is, not inclined to like what I mean, we've digressed, but what does Donald
Yes,
Trump
we have.
have on MAGA Mike Johnson that keeps him so in line? He's going to be the next vice president. If Trump gets kicked out of office or that he passes away, MAGA Mike Johnson is absolutely going to be JD Vance's vice president. That is 100%. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I'm probably okay with that.
Right.
I
Right.
don't dislike, I dislike MAGA Mike Johnson's behavior in reflection of Trump, but without Trump as the anchor, I think it's it's at least possible we could reach normalcy, or at least
I
a
agree.
semi-normal.
I think so. And what people don't understand is how this is affecting travel,
Yeah,
the
please.
travel economy. Airlines have to reshift and focus on different itineraries or charge you more because they're avoiding certain areas that have no flyovers or American no flyovers. And people don't understand, oh, it's taking me twice as long to fly. Why am I connecting? Why is there an 12-hour layover? Well, because the US government is having a secret war in that part of the region or wherever it might be. The same thing with cruises. Cruises have been interrupted, especially in the Middle East. And you talk about Holy Land tours, big industry. Religion is a big industry.
Yeah,
Um,
always
you know,
has
I,
been.
I tell people all the time, look, I'm a God loving man, brother. I am a JC, not Jay-Z all the way, right? Um, but he didn't come here to start a religion. He came to start a movement, the way of how God lives in your heart. And, we follow the wild goose until we, get there, if we ever get there, right? But religion was created really, and that was really the spawn of travel. People began to travel to spread the word, to spread the gospel, to the I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm gonna nerd out here, right?
You're good.
Because
I took theology in college too, so
but you talk about the age of exploration, right? The
yeah,
1500s, right? That's really when we started conquering the world, right?
sure.
We came over here and we're like, we're putting our flag. This is ours, guys. Sorry, Indians, gotta go. But we created it so that we can expand commerce.
Yeah,
So travel, we're just part of the commerce system so that we consume elsewhere. And then once we consume elsewhere, we're enticed to buy property or, maybe build a family, or maybe join or invest in businesses. I know folks who live out in the UK and Ireland, and they follow the day-to-day news here because they're fully invested in the stock market.
yeah,
So it's imperative for them to know what's happening in politics and what's happening in, whatever they might have invested pharmaceuticals. So, AstraZeneca, we need to make sure that that new drug and blah, blah, blah. And, because my money on this cottage is all invested. So, um, but that's who we've become. That's what travel was created for, so that we can explore, not necessarily conquer, but somewhere down the line it got crazy. But
yeah.
um, it wasn't until after we destroyed half the world we realized, hey, we might want to start bringing people to these places that we destroyed, build them, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
make theme parks and, I don't know, ski resorts and, I don't know, hotels. Hotels on hills? Is
As
that a thing?
Yeah, yeah. As a side, by the way, the history of Disney World in Orlando, Florida, the fact that Walt Disney could look at fields of nothing but swamps and mosquitoes and malaria and like
Yeah,
the likelihood of tens of thousands of people just dying from disease building in a state that had been established for more than 100 years
I
in,
think
in Florida.
I think that's because he escaped Germany. This is my conspiracy. And then he ended up somewhere in South America in the middle of the jungle, and he was already prepared. He was like, hey, I made it through the muck. I can make money off of this. People will love it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what Trump was thinking when he was trying to create this encampment to trap people down there in Florida. What an idiot! What an idiot! Alligator Alcatraz.
We're going to
We got
have
food trucks and parades and like them. When did we become Nazi? Hitler's Nazi. What happened? We destroyed them in World War II.
yeah.
At least I thought we did
Well,
until Pete came into office.
there's a lot to be said for the fact that after World War II, and I'm a history nerd too, but after World War II, we went into a competition with the Soviets to try and get all of the intel. I mean, our entire NASA program is built on the
Hmm.
backs of the the German and Nazi scientists that we brought over from the United States, granted them amnesty and asylum here in the United States so that they would then fund because we saw what Germany was doing with jets and things like that. They had planes that could overtake, they had jets that could overtake our military airplanes that are just prop run in
Hmm.
seconds, spin around and come back and strafe them from the front. I mean, just unbelievable technology. And we were on the verge of doing that, but we just weren't there yet. So we did what we had to in order to keep our frenemies, the Soviets, from taking all of that intelligence. And, and then it went into, education and things like that. The fact that the Soviets for 30 years were investing in the in intelligence and education of students. And then by the time we got to the 1950s, they're putting satellites in orbit
Hmm.
and we're playing catch up, So
With ketchup, catch up with ketchup. That's what I always love to tease about that. But it's so true. It wasn't travel really didn't explode here in the United States until World War II ended, when the FAA was formed and Eisenhower was in office and
yeah.
all that good stuff in the 1950s. That's when these industries, which I believe were funded by the Black dot 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 rock. Um,
Yeah.
can't say it together. We might get canceled.
Bring it on. I mean,
Uh, I've always worried, like now I have to do a deep dive of my phone, delete things, reset it.
I don't blame you. Honestly, I do wonder. I mean, uh, as far as, where is it that your family originates from?
Well, my
I know
my
you're from Newark, but
but my family, so my mom and dad have a really cool story because um, my mom, she's always been politically involved, right, on the Democratic side. My dad, who fought in Vietnam, has always been a Republican. So, but when they got home, none of that mattered. It
sure.
was, no one talked about politics inside the house. But my mom was one who worked on campaigns for people like Mayor Sharp James in Newark, um, Cory Booker. My sister still volunteers and is participating. One of 11 sisters, one of 11 kids, I should say, 7 sisters. But
That's
I know.
incredible.
You thought the South did it, man. Puerto Rico's all the way south.
So Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico is the origin story, but before that, we tap into Spain,
Okay.
Portugal, and we really don't know where my grandfather on my mother's side came from, but there's origins to Italy by way of Cuba. So, you know, we're really proud of our heritage and our
Sure.
roots. My grandmother on my father's side was native to Puerto Rico,
Okay.
Taino. So that makes us Native Americans, technically.
Yeah.
Although we're not recognized, but who cares, right? I mean, I guess there's other things to be recognized for, but
I'm gonna say if you pay a lot of attention to what's happening to the indigenous peoples in or South Dakota and North Dakota and Montana and things like that,
insane.
it's almost better to go unrecognized
I
as
know,
having ties to the first people here in the North American continent.
right?
I
Oh,
mean,
but I think my exploration and my passion came from my dad being an explorer himself and wanting to do things. But here's the irony. He never traveled. We would go on vacations and he'd say, all right, you guys get on a plane with mom. You're going to go Puerto Rico or Florida or whatever it is. He didn't like to go. He liked his home quiet time. At least that's what we thought. We thought he worked for the mob. But
your father and I would get along so well.
I'll let him know in a couple hours when I get to Florida.
Oh, that's awesome.
But travel right now. What I will tell people is this: be patient. Grab a travel advisor. There's no reason why you shouldn't use a travel advisor. It's free. We get paid a commission that you are already paying when you book a product, whether it's online, Expedia. Shout out to Expedia. They're actually one of our partners. Or you book American
I'll
Airlines.
give them a little ding.
Yeah. Any of these products, they're going to charge you a commission. It's already embedded in the cost.
Right.
We're here to be your concierge, your advocates, and to help you plan and prepare. Hey, Juan, there's a hurricane coming through, and that ship itinerary is scheduled to cross paths with it. What's going to happen? And I'll usually tell them, hey, what they'll do is they'll cancel some of the ports. You'll get some money back, or they'll redirect the ship. Or if it's extremely dangerous, the government would mandate the ports closed and you would get a cancellation notice, etc. But next, I encourage people to use travel insurance. I get insurance for my concert tickets. Are you kidding me? Like I don't care what it is, unless they're like nosebleed tickets. I'm gonna get insurance.
Are the concerts you're going to like the ones that I would go to, which is the reason that I get the cancellation insurance or I get the insurance on the tickets because there's a potential that someone from the band is going to die of old age?
Yes. Yeah, like Metallica. I'm like, all right, son, we're gonna go see them, but it's possible. It's just possible, But yeah, it's easy. We have insurance for our vehicles, at least all of us should. Our homes, our health. Well, we would hope that everybody has health insurance. Dang it. But why not travel? I mean, it happens all the time. It happened to us in London. We were flying back home from the UK, and one of our bags got lost.
Yeah.
Here it is. I'm the travel advisor traveling, and my bag gets lost. It gets swallowed up by Heathrow. The Heathrow monster ate it. But that's what you had travel insurance for. And you're like, hey, how much can I claim? Well, you can claim up to $1,000 per bag, sir. I'm like, hoorah, let's go. Let's go shopping.
Yeah, but what if that bag had your laptop or
Yes.
the $1,000 won't cover everything?
Well, so that's that's a great question. So first of all, no one should be putting their laptop in a
fair point.
Right?
I've watched those reels.
But because that is just crazy because those bags are getting scanned, guys. They are going through the same check as we do when we cross up. I hear people say, "Oh, but our bag is going to go straight to the plane." No, it, there's a process. There's
Yeah.
these X-ray machines. They're getting scanned. There's dogs down there. There's all kinds of scary monsters down there. I watch enough movies to know this. Horror movies, especially South Korean movies. Shout out to South Korea, and their zombie movies. Um, but um, I think the genius behind travel insurance too is that it pays for itself in essence.
Yeah.
There's the wrong way is losing your bag or getting sick before you travel or missing a flight, and then now you have to pay for a different flight because the airline says you don't have the pre-departure protection. Um, it's just common stuff, just real easy. A couple more dollars. I see people, they'll say, "Oh, I paid $59 for my seat." I'm like, "Okay, cool. How much you pay for your bag?" "Oh, well, the bag was only $45. "Oh, okay.
Jeez.
How much did you actually pay for the airfare? Because the cabin seat, this check bag, oh, well, it was like $109 more." "Okay. All right, so far you're doing good. You're going from Charlotte to maybe LaGuardia. You're doing good, right?" It's when I see them eating at Panera Bread in the airport, and I'm like, "All right, you're going to spend $45 at Panera Bread or Starbucks or Chi-Chi's or whatever they're calling it to have an egg and cheese sandwich in the middle of the morning because there's nothing else open, but you wouldn't pay to get a better seat or a better package. You'd rather sit in misery and spend on a vending machine $6 on a Coca-Cola
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
can get it for free on the plane."
Part of the
Just don't get
experience.
it.
Yeah, I get that, and ultimately you're exactly correct. But I am obviously, I'm going to admit it. I'm one of those individuals that you would be questioning my intelligence just based on, like, I wouldn't go to Panera's. Like, I would probably be eating in line for the TSA check, and then I would find a seat in the corner away from everyone. Like, I am.
I can't knock that though. I can't knock that.
Oh yeah.
But I will
Especially if
say
I'm
this.
about to be on a canister with potentially, whatever sicknesses. But I also
Right.
recognize science and that air is so well filtered on planes. The idea that anyone on a plane was getting COVID from someone else on a plane
Right.
is just purely based on the science of air circulation and filtering is absurd. I think that the CDC at one point said that there were less than 1% uh, of transmission of COVID of people on planes, just purely because that is the most air filtered circulated system that's ever been created. So, there's something to be
I
said for
mean,
that and my
I
paranoia.
I'm a look, I'm an avid believer. Here's another conspiracy theory that our planes are not being fueled, and we're just, we're using that hydroponic, or I'm not smart enough to know the words for this, but you know where I'm getting at, where the air circulates in one way and outward, and they're using water, and it, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
Well, let me
It's a
ask
gimmick.
you let me ask you a question. Travel inside of the United States,
Hmm.
is is there a difference in accessibility of using your passport to travel versus a real ID?
No, no, really. Well, right now, no. Eventually, yes. Eventually, it's going to be more commonplace to use your passport or passport ID to travel within the U.S. or the
Okay.
territories. In fact, there are some flights by Delta and American Airlines that require you to go into Puerto Rico with a passport
Really?
ID. Yeah, so these are just test runs that they're doing, and they're, not going to deny you if you don't have it when you get to the airport because it's not an FAA regulation or rule yet. But when it does pass into law, It'll be something that's going to be swift and it's going to take everyone by surprise. But the key is to get the real ID first. Once you get that real ID, you're going to have a pathway to get your passport and everything else quicker. I tell people, yes, it's hit or miss when you apply for a passport, timing. But if you do have a real ID, if you have an updated birth certificate, and you haven't moved more than 3 times in the last 10 years, you're more than likely going to get your passport in 6 weeks. And it's going to benefit you in the long run domestically to use one. I would encourage all my Latino and Hispanic friends who are natural born citizens here or have gotten their citizenship or have a green card, or those of you who can apply for a visa extension, do it now. And those of you who can get your passports, do it now. My wife and I are headed on the road and we're taking our passports. We know that it's uncomfortable to have to explain that, first of all, no one in this country, we live in the United States, we shouldn't have to be stopped at a checkpoint
Yeah.
to identify ourselves. This is not, Belgium before the wall came down in Europe. This is the United States. I'm trying not to get angry because
I understand.
but
Let me ask you, have you or anyone close to you been through any sort of
yeah,
situations with ICE?
before you even asked it,
You
yes.
knew it was coming.
So in October, I did a product review for a company I'm going to leave unmentioned because they're not at fault. They're a great supplier. We had the opportunity to go together, but I decided to go by myself. And it was going to Canada, getting on a cruise ship that was being repositioned to Miami. It was a maiden voyage, and this is a brand new cruise itinerary and a brand new ship. And when I got into Canada, I felt, all right, well, this is okay. You're questioning me. I'm coming in for a project. It is work related. And, right now I check all the boxes with people trying to come into Canada and saying, hey, I'm done with America, right? And, but I had enough money and enough evidence that after an hour, they were like, okay, you can go. But
An
that's Canada.
hour.
And I know. I mean, they were super Canadian friendly though. Like
Sure.
I probably was gonna get, I don't know. I thought I was gonna get like a breakfast sandwich or something out of it, but these people were just super nice,
They
like
bleed maple
nice.
syrup.
I mean, I shout out to Canada. There you go. Shout out to Canada Canadians
Yeah.
for being super nice to Americans who are like us. Anyway, um, when we came back into the U.S., this was a first for me. The experience was not how it was as previous, where you'd have a TSA officer and some type of experienced border agent, but they had ICE on board. And you go through a line and everyone's going through what looks like clear, facial recognition.
Mm-hmm.
You've already given the cruise line your passport information, so everything's already stored electronically. And in order to streamline and get 2,800 passengers through this system plus employees, they use their facial recognition. When they got to mine, they sent me to secondary. Then they sent me to a third line all by myself. And they wouldn't scan my face. And then it just went and spiraled to, hey, can you go meet that gentleman over there? And he's going to interview you. And then it went to the ICE agent literally saying, no, he is mine. Those were the words he used. He is mine. And I'm open about this because I actually spoke to a reporter 2 days ago about this. And hopefully they'll publish the story in the Charlotte Observer. Um, so it was an hour and a half of being grilled and interviewed by this idiot with a giant dog. I have all this expensive camera equipment with me because the point was I was getting off in Maine to photograph the fort and then come back on.
So this was just an excursion. This was just you leaving the boat to go back onto the boat.
Well, no, this was part of the process of re-entry into the U.S.
U.S.
But
waters and such.
it so happened that at that port we were also allowed to get off and tender over, which eventually was canceled for other reasons. But I went through a situation that 99%, I have no claim to that statistic, but I'm from my own personal perspective and viewing, no one else was brought through that process. I asked other individuals on board, other employees, um, guests. No, they thought it was insane.
Do
But
you?
the demographic
Yeah.
I was a 1% demographic that looked like me or was even my age,
Yeah.
especially for an itinerary like this.
I have such a difficult time in understanding the profiling. Like, is it that they saw your last name? Did they say, Velazquez and said, okay, this is one we need to flag? Is it, but see, that doesn't work because you went onto the cruise ship with your
Hmm.
passport, with, all of the information tied to your individualism
Yep.
based on the common working file that the Social Security system uses. And I know all about the common working file for Social Security. I worked in Medicare for almost 20 years. And so I know every single thing, every single data point that, 15 years ago was available through that particular database.
Hmm.
Um, and, country of origin, how you are tied to individuals that came before you, your parents, their parents, whatever that information available in that system is there. And it's tied to your Social Security number, which means that any law enforcement agency, including immigration customs enforcement,
Right.
has that access to it. So that there isn't any, to me, there isn't any validity to pulling someone with your name aside because of the fact that your family has been of the United States for at least 2 generations, now 3
Right.
generations. Um, I don't understand it. It
Well,
feels less like security and more like intimidation.
yeah. And I had a great conversation with a good buddy of mine from church, and he took me out to breakfast because he says, "Juan, I want to really talk to you about something. I heard your story, um, and I got to tell you that's not how I roll." And he's telling me, and it's great. Um, the real calm here is this is no longer an immigration issue. It really isn't. And for anybody to tell me blatantly that this is an immigration issue is lying. Because my wife and I, we have a strong stance on immigration. I mean, we are one of the most polarizing individuals there is when it comes to politics because we don't lean to one political ideology or another. We lean towards logic. And there's none of that right now in the current administration.
Yeah.
But this is a deliberate attempt to target migrants and individuals who are coming into this country and then just collectively categorizing every single one of us in one hub in order to make a point to rid of the country of us. But what doesn't make sense is that all of this money, all of this that's being spent upon this operation has brought zero results. You've destroyed families. Well,
Hmm.
not you and I, but he has. He has ripped apart the fabric of trust in our communities. I don't know who to trust. Barrett, I am intimidated by some of my white neighbors and friends. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, brother. I grew up in the hustle. I
Yeah.
grew up in some mean streets,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be ashamed about this. I was a pretty bad hombre. that was a, that was a bad dude. I was always in a scuff. But right now, it, no one talks. And the first thing that, at least in the South, particularly, is everyone raises a gun right away. I am fearful for being pulled over. I'm fearful for my son while he goes to school in Florida. Are you kidding me? My son is the exact replica of Carlos Santana, which, by the way, I have a bone to pick because, I got to have a conversation with the wife because more and more he grows, more and more he looks like Carlos.
How old is your son?
He's 18.
I don't think the god of the guitar has been fathering children since your son was born.
You know what?
You know what
Somewhere
though? It's entirely possible.
in some Marvel universe, through my son's guitar playing, which he's a guitarist and a
Is he?
musician,
That's awesome.
he probably plugged in his guitar to his computer and it manifested Santana's music into his bloodstream.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
You know
send
what?
you a picture.
You know what though? If you were gonna have your wife have the child of someone, Carlos Santana's got to be one of the top ones.
Yeah, but let's
Him
go
and
back to
Muhammad
Tom
Ali.
Cruise. I mean, come on. Could you imagine having a kid with the last name Cruz? I mean, I'll go back.
That would have, yeah, that
I'm
would
going
have
to
been
change
good.
my name to Cruz, just my stage name, people.
That would
Tell
have
me
been
it's all
good.
crazy.
I know what you're saying though about like the neighborhood you live in, because I live in a very red district, and it isn't really noticeable if you were just to see the neighbors on my street.
Mm.
I live next door to Jose and his wife, and they have lived next door to us now for about 4 years. Jose is Dominican, and I can say that at the age of 70, I wish that I had known him since a child, since we were children. He is one of my closest, dearest friends. My neighbor Bernard, who is a Ginyard, of the slave family Ginyards, he's one of my closest friends, and we've all lived in this neighborhood. We have from Pakistani and Vietnamese and Chinese. Our street is extremely diverse, and we've been here for a long time. So I have a hard time seeing, especially from my white privilege state, I have a hard time seeing where people are being impacted out of fear just of their neighbors, the people that they live next
Yeah.
door to. But I know it exists. I have expressed to Jose, his daughter lives a couple streets over. His son lives close by too, but they live in neighborhoods that are different from ours. I don't know what they are, but I recognize that even when they come to visit, seeing me outside, there's a slight bit of hesitation
Mm-hmm.
when greeting me, which is something that I hate, but it's not. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable seeing me next door to their father, who I again adore, and I wish he would stop fucking mowing his own lawn and just let me do it. He's too old to be doing it.
You know what it is, and I'll say this about that. My dad loves to mow his own lawn. He's 80 freaking years old, and it's all about perfection.
Yeah.
And or thinking that they're doing it right, because my dad, I love him. Dad, you're doing a terrible job. Stop mowing the lawn.
What are these lines?
What is these circles? What is this? Like those alien crop
Crop
circles.
circles, yeah.
It's wild. But I'll tell you this, and sure, there's more to that story, and I'll give you the article when it comes out, um, because there was yet two more instances down the line where I had to deal with um customs, um, border patrol, and ICE on the same trip 4 times. Anyway, I will say this: if you're Latino and you're traveling, just go about your business day to day. Um, be mindful and be open. And if the police pull you over, just follow the same rules of engagement. Um, I'm not that individual that I probably should be practicing what I preach because I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, I'm start recording, I'm gonna be resistant. Um, but we shouldn't just let it happen because there's a reckoning that will occur. And I want to make sure that I'm careful about saying that. I don't want people to think that there's going to be this giant revolution of, this monstrous takeover. But these individuals all have to answer either to lawmakers once this all comes to an end, and they'll have to answer to their constituents. They'll have to answer to their neighbors,
Yeah.
their families, and to whatever religion and God they pray to. At the end of the day, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the easiest thing to get you by, especially the holidays right now. Just, you know, um, and I hope that I have the patience to follow these words
Yeah.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, Juan, I don't want to keep you too long. We've already gone over our usual hour allotment, so we're going to have to do another episode where we discuss where we
Dang
discuss
it.
this again. I do want to make sure everyone knows that Juan and the Travel People's podcast, you can hear it everywhere that podcasts are being published. You can see them on Facebook, follow there, YouTube, everything like that. As well, you all are consultants for the cruise planners, or you are the people, the Travel People's LLC. If anyone has visions or plans to potentially go out and travel anywhere, is Antarctica one of them? Can we?
I would definitely recommend Antarctica. As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, I have some really cool itineraries. So
Oh,
I'll plug this real quick. 803-280-4727 is the number to call, not text.
yeah. I will make sure to add all of that into the show notes as well, so that people know how to get a hold of you. And ultimately, I got to go to Wilmington in March, so maybe you can. I'll be busy the whole time, so I don't get an itinerary. But
Yeah,
I may potentially look for a recommendation on hotels near the convention center.
definitely.
it's a
Definitely.
it's a long walk from where we were last year. So, well, listen, Juan, I really appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate getting to be on your show. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I like what you are doing to promote the local businesses in the Fort Mill, York County area. Because while I'm not I'm not an avid drinker. I don't know mostly anything even researchable about alcohol. I do on rare occasions I will indulge, but it for the most part I don't like the way beer tastes.
Whoa. My heart just broke.
I
We'll
get it.
get you the
No, I
we'll
get
get
it.
you to the dark side.
I don't mind a good bourbon, but rarely. But I think what you guys do is really fantastic, and of course, shout out to Midas and Fame, because they are such fantastic guys. I know that Famous does a really great job
He
on
does.
getting your episodes out there and published and everything. So always check out their show, No Shortcuts. They record on Tuesdays at noon Eastern. And it's very entertaining to watch. They have some fantastic guests. And even when they don't have any guests and it's just the two of them, Jerry might have sent me audio that he had just finished. He had just wrapped up a couple nights ago. Like, I think it was Friday night. And I listened to it and I'm like, I wish I had that kind of talent. Like, I wish that I could output what potential beats or music that I hear in my head sometimes and be able to do what he does, because it's fantastic. And I absolutely love that he shared it with me, because that was really cool. So Midas and Fame, absolutely adore them. Two of the most genuinely sincere people I think you could possibly know. So no shortcuts as well. When do your episodes publish?
So we don't have a set schedule.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, we're so afraid to have a set schedule.
I don't blame you.
What we do is we'll record at least once a month and drop them once a month. With all the travel and just political uncertainty this year, we've had to take a longer pause in our second season. But I think it's only giving us the opportunity to come in the third season harder and stronger and with more experiences. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's great.
But we'll be definitely teaming up with you guys. We appreciate you guys being on our show as well, and you especially. You've been a great advocate here, and a strategist of at least the way I talk to folk about politics. So I'm like, wait, before I answer that, let me see what Barrett has.
I don't think that's a good idea at all. No. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. You all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for joining us on that exciting podcast with Barrett Gruber. Once again, this is Juan Velazquez with the Travel People Podcast. We truly appreciate your support here on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere where you stream your podcast, preferably. Hey, if you're looking for information about how to download the show, share the show, or if you need more information about the show notes, please go ahead and give us a call at 803-280-4727. Cheers.